So here with Coach Woods, BYU football, getting ready for the 2025 season. And Coach, it's just maybe from your vantage point is coaching up a position. What's the spring, summer like with how busy it is with recruiting now? How's it been for you from your vantage point?
It's been hectic, and I think it's been a good hectic. I think when you're able to recruit the caliber of players that we're recruiting right now, it's a lot of fun. We're going against the very best in college football and in a lot of areas, and obviously that requires your best effort at all times. And so yeah, it's been a good time.
How have you enjoyed recruiting athletes or student athletes to BYU?
I love it. I mean, I think it's I tell people all the time. I think we get a lot of credit as coaches for some of that stuff, but a lot of times BYU sells itself. Right? It's more about educating the families and the recruits on not just BYU, but who BYU is, right? The people at BYU and those type of things. I think is second to none. It's as good as any place I've ever been.
For this year, with 2025 offensive line, you lose some guys from last season: Braden Keim, Caleb Etienne, Connor Pay. There's a lot of returning experience too. Maybe just 10,000-foot view, or just overarching thought of just the collective personnel that you have entering the 2025 season.
Yeah, I mean, we're excited about the talent that we have. We have 5 guys that started games for us last year at one point or another. We're looking for that to pay off this year. Overall experience is a little bit down if you look at the starts, and so I think that's an area of growth for us, and obviously my job to get those guys prepared to make some of the scheme adjustment calls and things that they're going to see on Saturdays. Really, impressed with the way the guys are moving in that direction, and I think the biggest key for us too is just the leadership piece. We lost some incredible leaders, in my opinion, from last year, and while I think that we're as talented or maybe slightly more talented than we were last year, I think O-line leadership is so important in that room, right? Because it's about how you play collectively. It's not how good you are individually, it's how good all 5 guys are. And so that's really been a point of emphasis for us in the offseason. And, we've had a couple additions to the room that I think have helped that too. And we've got a lot of guys coming back that we look for big things from them, from all 5 of those guys in that area.
You feel like you already know who that starting 5 is right now?
No. I think there's definitely some competition right now. I would say I know the top 7 right now. Who cracks into that starting 5, we'll see. Fall camp will tell that, and then obviously their availability, injury play a part in that too. But and then we're really looking forward to fall camp to figure out who 8, 9, and 10 are. You as an O-line coach, you feel really good if you have 9 or 10 guys that you feel like can play. So.
One of those guys that we didn't see in spring, we saw him here today at golf. Andrew Gentry, is he cleared? Is he going through summer conditioning? And are you expecting him ready for fall camp?
Yeah, he's a workhorse. I mean, he's done a tremendous job. Obviously wasn't able to compete in the spring, but was very diligent in his preparation, trying to learn the offense, those type of things, and is doing a great job this summer. And he's still slowly progressing into everything. We want to make sure we're being careful with him, but we're excited.
How about Whalen too? We didn't see him in spring, but he was kind of like, when you talk about leadership, it felt like, from my vantage point, it just seemed like he's kind of maybe a guy that could take on that role. He's been so good during his BYU career. How's Whalen's health, and will he be ready for fall camp?
He's doing great, very good, very pleased with where Whalen's at, and Whalen's definitely the emotional leader of the offensive line. He's for sure the spark plug, if you will, for our guys, and has done a great job of that throughout the summer, and even honestly during spring ball when he wasn't available. Always out there encouraging, trying to teach, trying to pass his knowledge on to some of the younger players. So very, very excited. Glad that Whalen decided to come back for another year, to be honest. So happy about that.
Last thing for you, Coach. Isaiah Jot is an interesting player because, he stepped into the spotlight in a key spot against Utah when Kime went down, and looked like he played pretty well in spring ball. Just what do you like about Isaiah's game and areas that he's trying to improve heading into the fall?
Yeah, I mean, I love his work ethic. I think that he's a savant in the classroom too when it comes to just his football intelligence. His FBI is very, very high. I would say last year's between Connor Pay and Isaiah were the two guys that really invested and took the time to know every single detail. And that's not a knock on the rest of those guys. They're all all these guys are smart guys, right? But I do think Jada, he lives it. He loves football. He's invested in it, and I think that shows in his development. And he's gotten a lot better from when he stepped on campus, even to that Utah game. And I think he's even gotten better from that Utah game. And excited to have him go out there and do those type of things that we're seeing at practice on game day.